Wendy McVicker, Stewart's Opera House's Poet in Residence. Go poetry! We're all here to celebrate poetry today. On behalf of Stewart's Opera House, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Southeast Ohio Poetry Out Loud semifinal contest. Today's contest is one of 6 semifinals held this month throughout Ohio. I would like to now introduce Chiquita Mullins-Lee, Arts Learning Coordinator at the Ohio Arts Council.
Hello to everyone in Nelsonville. To be here at Stewart's Opera House is such a beautiful facility. Poetry Out Loud is an arts education initiative generously sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation in association with the Ohio Arts Council. Since 2007, I've had the privilege of seeing and hearing the best poetry ever written, recited by high school students who have learned about poetry and about themselves through participating in Poetry Out Loud. Since the beginning of the program in 2006, Ohio's Poetry Out Loud state champions have distinguished themselves at the national finals in Washington, D.C., and have placed as national champion, which happened in 2006, the very first year for Poetry Out Loud. So national runners-up, national finalists, honorable mentions, and have collectively won over $35,000 in prize money at the nationals alone. Yay! 2018 marks the 13th anniversary of Poetry Out Loud. I can't believe it. This is the 2nd year of regional partnerships based in 6 Ohio cities. So that's Cleveland, Columbus, Nelsonville, Cincinnati, Dayton, and Findlay, Toledo. So, on behalf of the Ohio Arts Council, we welcome you to today's semifinal contest, and we are so pleased to be partnering with Stewart's Opera House. Thank you so much.
We are so pleased once again to be holding the Southeast Ohio semifinal in our historic Stewart's Opera House. In its storied past, Stewart's was home to traveling performances, high school graduations, and community meetings. Our education program at Stewart's was created to rebuild that community connection that was lost when the Opera House closed in 1924. Support for our program comes from the Ohio Arts Council, Seth Teicher with Epstein Teicher's Philanthropies, Klein Penny Education Fund, Hocking College Music Production Program, Benefest, Athens Sunrise Rotary, Rocky Community Improvement Fund, the Athens Foundation, and our generous donors, especially LaRue Properties, who gave our program home space while we renovated. So it takes a village. I would like to introduce today's MC, Mr. Micah J. Covert. Mr. Covert currently serves as president of the Nelsonville York City School Board of Education.
It's a privilege and an honor to be here today in this beautiful space with all of you. We are undoubtedly blessed to have Stewart's Opera House in our community and in our region. The many staff and volunteers of this organization have helped ensure that thousands of children receive the important and necessary arts education. I thank you, and I offer my humble gratitude for keeping our kids safe. Now more than ever, we must continue to support public education and those who fight the good fight each day. I remember fondly all of my English language arts teachers who first taught me to read. Second, taught me to enjoy reading. And finally, they taught me the beauty of creating art with words. And so today, we come to celebrate poetry. And here's our contestants. Welcome each and every one of you. Please stand if you are a teacher so we can recognize your stellar commitment. The highest scoring student from today's contest will be invited to compete in the state finals in Columbus in March. The state finals winner will be declared the 2018 Ohio Poetry Out Loud state champion and will be awarded a cash prize and an all-expense-paid trip to Washington, D.C. with a chaperone. I wish all of our contestants the best of luck and look forward to experiencing poetry the way it was made to be enjoyed, out loud. Applause and cheering before and after each performance is encouraged, of course. This contest consists of 2 rounds. Each student will recite 1 poem, and recitation order was randomized. After round 2 is finished, scores will be tallied. Scoring is cumulative, so scores from both rounds are added together to determine each student's final ranking. The contest will be scored in 6 categories: physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatic appropriateness, evidence of understanding, overall performance, and accuracy. For this formidable task, I'd like to thank our 3 distinguished judges, Becca Lockman, Renard Phillips, and J.D. Gilmore. We will also be assisted by Celeste Parsons from the ABC Players, will serve as our prompter, Luke Bentley from the Nelsonville Public Library. Luke is our accuracy checker, and Jim Parsons, also from the ABC Players. Jim is our scoring manager. Let's begin round 1 of the Poetry Out Loud Nelsonville semifinal. The first contestant is Michaela Bradford. She is a senior from Federal Hocking High School in Stuart, Ohio.
Dirge Without Music by Edna St. Vincent Millay. I am not resigned to the shutting away of loving hearts in the hard ground. So it is, and so it will be, for so it has been, time out of mind. Into the darkness they go, the wise and the lovely, crowned with lilies and with laurel they go. But I am not resigned. Lovers and thinkers, into the earth with you. Be one with the dull, the indiscriminate dust. A fragment of what you felt, of what you knew. A formula, a phrase remains. But the best is lost. The answers quick and keen, the honest look, the laughter, the love, they are gone. They are gone to feed the roses. Elegant and curled is the blossom. Fragrant is the blossom, I know. But I do not approve. More precious was the light in your eyes than all the roses in the world. Down, down, down into the darkness of the grave, gently they go, the beautiful, the tender, the kind. Quietly they go, the intelligent, the witty, the brave. I know, but I do not approve, and I am not resigned.
Our next contestant is Harry Harmon. He is a junior from John Glenn High School in New Concord, Ohio.
Tall Ambrosia by Henry David Thoreau. Among the signs of autumn I perceive the Roman wormwood, called by learned men Ambrosia elatior, food for gods, for to impartial science the humblest weed is as immortal once as the proudest flower, sprinkles its yellow dust over my shoes as I cross the now neglected garden. My honest shoes, fast friends that never stray far from my couch, thus powdered, country food, bearing many a mile the marks of their adventure. At the post house, disgrace the Gallic gloss of those well-dressed ones, who no morning dew nor Roman wormwood ever have been through, who never walk, but are transported, rather. For what old crime of theirs, I do not get.
Next contestant is Emily McWilliams, a freshman from Nelsonville York High School in Nelsonville, Ohio.
Earth You Have Returned to Me by Elaine Egri. Can you imagine waking up every morning on a different planet, each with its own gravity? Slogging, wobbling, wavering, a tilt and out of sync, with all that moves and doesn't. Through years of trial and mostly error, did I study this unsteady way? Changing pills, adjusting the dosage, never settling. A long time we were separate. Oh, Earth, but now you have returned to me.
Our next contestant is Kayla Cordell, a senior from Logan High School in Logan, Ohio.
The Lamb by Linda Gregg. It was a picture I had after the war, a bombed English church. I was too young to know the word English or war, but I knew the picture. The ruined city still seemed noble. The cathedral with its roof blown off was not less godly. The church was the same, plus rain and sky. Birds flew in and out of the holes God's fists made in the walls. All our desire for love or children is treated like rags by the enemy. I knew so much and sang anyway, like a bird who will sing until it is brought down. When they take away the trees, a child picks up a stick and says, "This is a tree. This the house and the children, as we might." Through a door of what had been a house, into a field of rubble, walks a single lamb, tilting its head, curious, unafraid, hungry. Thank you.
Our last contestant is Sylvie Wilson, a junior from Athens High School in Athens, Ohio.
Old Men Playing Basketball by B.H. Fairchild. The heavy bodies lunge. The broken language of fake and drive, glamorous jump shot, slowed to a stutter. Their gestures in love again with the pure geometry of curves rise toward the ball, falter and fall away. On the boards, their hands and fingertips tremble in tense little prayers of reach and balance. Then the grind of bone and socket, the caught breath, the sigh, the grunt of the body laboring to give birth to itself. In their toiling and grand sweeps, I wonder, do they still make love to their wives, kissing the undersides of their wrists, dancing the old soft shoe of desire? And on the long walk home from the VFW, do they still sing to the drunken moon? Stands full, clock moving. The one in army fatigues and house shoes says to himself, "Pick and roll," and the phrase sounds musical as ever. Radio crooning songs of love after the game. The girl leaning back in the Chevy's front seat as her raven hair flames in the shuddering light of the outdoor movie. And now he drives, gliding toward the net. A glass wand of autumn light breaks over the backboard. Boys rise up in old men. Wings begin to sprout at their backs. The ball turns in the darkening air. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. It is my honor to reintroduce Wendy McVicker, our poet in residence, our Poetry Out Loud co-coordinator, who, along with poets from the creative writing class at Stewart's, will be performing for us.
Was that not brilliant? It was really hard to follow that act. But I am going to read for you a few short poems, 2 older ones, 2 new ones, and then I have the honor of introducing people from the last year's continuing creative writing group and this year's creative writing group. 2 each will come out and each read a poem. Here we go. To kick off this season of creative writing in Nelsonville, we had a poetry reading at the new outdoor stage at the Nelsonville Library, which if you haven't seen, I hope you'll check out when the weather gets better. So a poet from Massachusetts, Gail Thomas, came and did a reading there. It was a beautiful early October evening, and of course I had to write a poem about it. So here it is. It's called Poetry in Nelsonville, October 2017, for Gail Thomas. Outside, where the new stage faces the setting sun, where spiky grass struggles to push its way through gravel and dry dirt, where vultures wheel lazily overhead, the poet unrolls lines that curl and vanish into the high clouds, leaving a fine residue in our minds. Salt, bald eagles hovering, lilies and white iris, stone. A truck rumbles past on the uneven brick road. A motorcycle jumps and roars. Puppies eye each other, sniff and wag. And across the parking lot, 3 teenagers scuffle. Their ragged voices cut a raw fringe along the edge of the day, as if these poems were laid down on paper that came apart as we handled it, the kind we used to write love letters on, blue, tissue thin, to float across the ocean like frail boats carrying our hearts as yet undrowned. You do have to applaud after every single poem that these people give you, but you don't have to applaud after every single one. This is called Sliced Dark, and it comes from having found a grocery list that had sliced dark on it. That's the kind of gift that poets love. Sliced dark. My friend dreams of visiting me in a strange but familiar town on the prairie. Wind and winter have settled in. We walk endlessly through falling snow. The high-ceilinged rooms of my house are drafty, filled with drifting shadows. I know she senses my hesitation, my chilly hospitality, and the miles of wind-blown space between us. I lay a slab of darkness on her plate, pour night sky into her glass. We discuss an article from the paper, ripe with secrets and betrayal, murder, the oldest stories, friendship gone wrong, love astray. Sliced dark, someone has written on the grocery list. I pull the walls of my house around me. Some are the color of air, pale dawn gray. Some the faint green of morning in the woods. They hold silence, delicately balanced, like water brimming in a glass. Even a distant footfall can set it trembling. So this next one's called Before Thought, and it was inspired by a piece of art that I saw at the Ohio Arts Council's Rife Gallery in Columbus. It's a beautiful gallery. If you haven't had a chance to visit it, and you're in Columbus sometime, check it out. Voila, Before Thought. Before thought was night, deep and blue, filled with dreams, yours, ours, whispering. Red-finned fish swept by, frothing the dark with their tails. One dipped, another drifted, another kissed the underskin of the world. Buoyant we rise and catch the light. We are limned with gold. You notice I haven't memorized these poems, even though some of them are much shorter than what these people have memorized. Okay, so this is brand new, and one morning recently I was sitting with my notebook, and I was thinking, nothing is coming. Nothing is coming. And I wrote on my paper, if only the words. I couldn't even finish that sentence. So that's my title, and this is what happened. If only the words. Like cats, they slink away as soon as they sense my interest. They turn their slow backs, they show their flanks. Twitching their long, expressive whiskers, they regard me with cool golden eyes, assessing, measuring me for the kill. They chase their tails. When I stroke their fur, they purr, how happy we are. For a moment, my hands are scored, illegible. If words were more like dogs, would they bound up and sit adoring at my feet? Bring me treats, slobbery balls, gnawed sticks? Would they walk with me wherever I wanted to go? I suppose they too would find a way to escape. They'd slip the leash, chase after rabbits, run squirrels up trees and scare the children with their noise and tumbling. Leave me panting in the mud, this line dangling from my hand. Thank you. So now I would like to introduce the first of our, what do we call them? Our Stewart's Nelsonville Creative Writing Fellows, Diane McVeigh. Actually, I think I'm supposed to read there. So
Hello, it's nice to be here, and I have to tell you how much I've enjoyed being in the senior writing class. That's something very new for me. I didn't have a background in doing that, so this is a poem that I wrote for class that I'm going to share with you today. It's called Childhood Scars. Deep gashes in my young skin required stitches and left 4 big scars to proudly show and name. This was the time I fell off the kitchen counter, hard paint rods curling my fine straight hair. This was the time I grabbed the glass toothbrush tube, saving my baby brother. This was the time I jumped down from climbing truck racks, landing on a crosscut saw, waiting there to work. This was the time I rode my bicycle a little faster down our gravel hill, gashing my chin so deep my father's handkerchief forced it shut to stop blood and screaming. But now, those 4 dramatic scars are faded by time, and a lifetime of newer scars, not so easily or proudly named.
now we have Tricia Lockman with her poem.
Hi, I'm Tricia Lockman, and I, about a month ago, had an extraordinary visit to Cuba in a study seminar, and this poem came out of that one night. And it really wrote itself, I think, and one of the things that was fun about it is that it made me play with rhythm and rhyme. Havana night. Lying down to restless sleep, louvered windows make dreams retreat. Gargling in and out of streets, classic cars like ancient fiends. Whistles, shouts, and grumbled greets. Dog barks shrilled from roof and street in yelps that cut the air that weeps. Roosters wake, spice up the scene. Cuban rhythms swerve and lean. Bed beneath me vibrates on. All hope of rest, it's lost and gone. Soundscape full of pulsing beat. Havana night, seething.
Now we have Alexa Ross.
What luck. What luck to be born. To be one of 3, not one of 10. To have parents who not only spoke English, but read it and wrote it and had college degrees and made sure I did too. Not to mention, but I will, tennis lessons, trampoline, ballet, saxophone, and piano. What luck! What luck not to have been raped as a child, or bullied, or belittled, to have visited the capitals of Europe, not to have had a brother because he was stillborn, so that I was the final child, to have 2 older sisters and be forever the baby of the family. What luck to have been spared a life of poverty and boredom, to have had Depression-era parents, thrifty, debt-free, middle class. What luck to have escaped the tyranny of cigarettes, alcohol and chemicals, uppers and downers. What luck being raised by reasonable people who didn't force faith on me. What luck to drive a clean car, electric, to see the police and feel just a twinge of paranoia, not the full horror, to walk outside and not be jumped, beaten, and robbed by a gang of young men. What luck not to be genitally mutilated. What luck to have swum across the Delaware Water Gap and resisted the urge to cry for help and terrify myself into drowning when the mid-river current took hold. What luck not to be squashed by a tractor trailer on a dark, cold highway. What luck not to contract polio or meningitis, malaria or cancer or schizophrenia or an urge to change my sex. What luck still to be continent, to have a drink or not to, never to have been trafficked or prostituted, threatened or blackmailed, or married to a man who liked football. To have gotten out of bad situations alive, not to tell about it, but to keep it to myself and fool the world. What luck to have ever been born at all, to continue to live when so many do not, to have a house to live in and a car that isn't poisonous, and a circle of people who pay attention to the words I scribble on a Sunday night.
Thank you, Alex. Now we have Linda Cochran.
Thank you. This poem was inspired by some writing by Samuel Beckett. The frost taking the orange nasturtiums and the red cannas, and the last sweet gum leaves showering down, and the wood smoke drifting up, and the space station passing overhead in a starry black sky, and the cardinals clustering around the feeder, and the deer tracking through the snow, and the library books piling up beneath the bedside lamp, and the junk mail reaching a holiday crescendo. And the cat coming in smelling of sweet icy air, and the spring peepers calling, and the red buds blooming, and the wood thrushes arriving, and the red-bellied woodpeckers devouring suet blocks, and the hillsides greening, and the woodpile dwindling, and the wrens scolding the cat, and the laundry lifting in the breeze, and the mockingbird singing early, and the woodcock singing late, and the green finches turning yellow, and the grass growing tall, and the ants parading across the kitchen counter, and the jars of peaches cooling in the humid air, and the sweet gums shifting shade, and the buzzy cicadas drowning out the crickets in the brown fields, and the locust leaves falling first, and the night falling fast, and the frost across the flower beds, and the whole bloody business starting all over again.
Would you all come out and take a bow together, please? It has been so much fun to gather with these people week after week and get to witness all this fabulous creativity and be inspired by it myself. Please come out.
Thank you again, Wendy, and to the tremendous poets from the creative writing class. They are just one example of the transformative power of Stewart's Opera House in our community. And we really owe a debt of gratitude to the folks at Stewart's and the funders of all the programming here who provide art not only for our children, but for people of all ages, because art belongs to us. And Emily, I saw Emily with the little one. She's okay. Hey, Emily.
Yes, Emily Prince, who leads a lot of the who's the arts education director at Stewart's Opera House, and can't be with us now because she's responsible for Tiny One
Child. I've just been told that all of your schools are canceled on Monday. A poem by the school board president. I just wanted to remind each of you that we do have an accuracy score component to the final scores. So the students are doing such a wonderful job, and if they happen to miss a line, we as audience members are not going to know the difference, but that will play into their accuracy score when we do tally the final scores. Let's begin round two. Our first contestant, once again, is Michaela Bradford from Federal Hopkins High School.
Gravity Furnace by Francine J. Harris. She wants to set the house on fire. Gas in both hands, gas on the wall. It'd be like the sea torched from its floor. She'd run like light from basement windows, or maybe suck all arms to a room ablaze, so housed in gut piping, the copper hollowed, reaching to a heated black rot at bottom, like ants. Maybe she'd crawl in the dark, low on the belly. Maybe she thug out late, lay low, and ink 8 walls, lay low like coal. She might strip bare black glass sometimes, strut, sometimes high late. She runs from house to ember, a sum of sink. She breathes through flame, a room of spoon. One bar brick, one black-eyed room splatter, one torch spent for each arm. From coal to alley, she heaves you of concrete into each limb. A house of blue ring flames to mimic. Someone better run.
For the final time today, Harry Harmon from John Glenn High School.
100 Love Sonnets, 17, by Pablo Neruda, translated by Mark Eisner. I don't love you as if you were a rose of salt, topaz, or arrow of carnations that propagate fire. I love you as one loves certain obscure things, secretly between the shadow and the soul. I love you as the plant that doesn't bloom but carries the light of those flowers hidden within it. And thanks to your love, the tight aroma that arose from the earth lives dimly in my body. I love you without knowing how, or when, or from where. I love you directly without problems or pride. I love you like this because I don't know any other way to love, except in this one, in which I am not, nor are you, so close that your hand on my chest is mine, so close that your eyes close with my dreams.
Once again, Emily McWilliams from Nelsonville York High School.
The Star by Anne Taylor and Jane Taylor. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when he nothing shines upon, then you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle, all night. Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your tiny spark. How could he see where to go if you did not twinkle so? In the dark blue sky you keep, often through my curtains peep, for you never shut your eye until the sun is in the sky. As your bright and tiny spark lights the traveler in the dark, though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star.
For the second time, Kayla Cordell from Logan High School.
Abandoned Farmhouse by Ted Kooser. He was a big man, says the size of his shoes on a pile of broken dishes beside the house. A tall man, too, says the length of a bed in an upstairs room. And a good God-fearing man, says the Bible with a broken back lying on the floor beneath the window, dusty with sun. But not a man for farming,
say the fields cluttered with boulders. A woman lived with him, says the bedroom wallpapered with lilacs and the kitchen counters covered with oilcloth, and they had a child, says the sandbox made from a tractor tire. Money was scarce, say the jars of plum preserves and canned tomatoes sealed in a cellar hole. And the winter's cold, say the rags stuffed in window frames. It was lonely here, says the narrow country road. Something went wrong, says the empty house in the weed-choked yard. Stones in the field say he was not a farmer at all. The still-sealed jars in the cellar say she left in a nervous haste, and the child, his toys are strewn across the yard like branches after a storm. A rubber cow, a rusty tractor with a broken plow, a doll in overalls. Something went wrong, they say. Thank you.
Final contestant for round 2, Sylvie Wilson from Athens High School.
Blackberry Picking by Seamus Haney. For Philip Hobsbawm. Late August, given heavy rain and sun for a full week, the blackberries would ripen. At first, just one, a glossy purple clot, among others, red, green, hard as a nut. You ate that first one, and its flesh was sweet like thickened wine. Summer's blood was in it, leaving stains upon the tongue and lust for picking. Then, red ones inked up, and that hunger sent us out with milk cans, pea tins, jam pots, where briars scratched and wet grass bleached our boots. Round hayfields, cornfields, and potato drills we trekked and picked until the cans were full, until the tinkling bottom had been covered with green ones, and on top big, dark blobs burned like a plate of eyes. Our hands were peppered with thorn pricks, our palms sticky as bluebeards. We hoarded the fresh berries in the byre, but when the bath was filled, we found a fur, a wrapped gray fungus glutting on our cash. The juice was stinking too. Once off the bush, the fruit fermented, the sweet flesh would turn sour. I always felt like crying. It wasn't fair that all the lovely canfuls smelt of rot. Each year, I hoped they'd keep, knew they would not. Thank you.
And we'd like to take a group photograph, and we have a certificate for each of you as well. Harry Harmon, Emily McWilliams, Kayla Cordell, Sylvie Wilson. Let's all hold our certificates like this so we can see poetry out loud and give them a round of applause. So we announced the name of the new regional finalist. This person will advance to the state finals in Columbus on March 3rd. And then 12 state finalists from the 6 Ohio semifinal contest will enter in that state finals competition. So, yes?
We get to send 2 students
Our participation has increased since last year.
Great.
So, two.
Two of y'all are going to the big city. And hopefully one of you is going to bring home the trophy for the Buckeye State, right? To thank the folks from Stewart's, to thank our teachers who participated in today's competition. This is undoubtedly one of my favorite events that Stewart's puts on here in partnership with the Ohio Arts Council. So thank you again to Chiquita, to our poet in residence, Wendy McVicker, to our Arts Education Director, Emily, to T-Bone and his staff, to our judges, and the rest of the volunteers who gave their time today.
How about the red-headed lady in the back? Can you come around to the side? Sorry. I'm a ginger too. I'm a ginger too. It's okay. There you go. Fine. I'll Photoshop it out. It'll be all right. All right, we're good. We can get individual ones. Oh, you can get in there too.
With everybody?
Yeah, with everybody out there.
Thank you. That's short.
See everybody? All right, everyone look at me. Anyone else want to take pictures? All right. All right.
Well, the results are in. The judges have reached their final decisions. Again, I would like to congratulate all of the students who participated in today's contest. It takes courage to stand up here. So, your hard work brought you here, and I trust you found it a rewarding experience. We all greatly enjoyed your recitations. You've done impressive work bringing these poets' verses to life. Thank you to each of you for reminding us of the importance and relevance of poetry. We look forward to hearing from each of you in the future. We will present two finalists with an invitation to compete in the state finals in Columbus on March 3rd. And I will first announce the runner-up of this semifinal who will go on to compete in Columbus. So please step to the center stage when your name is called. And so, our Southeast Region runner-up is Michaela Bradford. Without further delay, our Southeast Region champion is Sylvie Wilson. they move on to Columbus next month. This concludes our competition today. Thank you all so much for coming. Contestants, you are all invited to stay on the stage for a few more photographs with your family or friends, and you are also welcome to greet our judges and talk with them if you wish. Judges, we now invite you to join on the stage. Thank you again for coming today and sharing this celebration of learning and literature, and we invite you all to join us at Ohio's Poetry Out Loud State Finals on Saturday, March 3rd at the King Arts Complex in downtown Columbus. Have a safe drive home. Thank you all very much.
Great festival y'all have here. Okay, time to do our waltz. All right, that was a real stinker. Here I go, back to that feeling. And the crosswinds are changed. Lord, my chances to make it low. Should you get lonesome and your child need a mother, just look for traces, sure what's there.
Dear, do you see her ball? Look inside. This way, darling.
Sorry, this was supposed to go one song into another, just like a really slick Las Vegas act. Oh, the dragons are gonna fly tonight. You're circling low and inside tonight.
clapping your hands. Y'all better be clapping your hands. Y'all better be clapping your hands. Y'all better be clapping your hands. Crazy, crazy for you, baby, but I don't know what to do. 'Cause you don't want me. You don't want, better be clapping, y'all. Y'all better be clapping your hands.